Hey flockers, we're doing a quick pop-up stream with Tycho. I'd like to say hello if you're joining us. If you are joining us, just box up in the comments so that we know that you are there. Just gonna address the background noise a little bit here. Yeah, that's right, Tycho. There you go. So if you're joining us, I see we have April and we have Wubux, Norma, Deanne, Norma, a whole bunch of folks. Since Tycho's being a little bit shy, I'm going to go to chat overlay. Pardon me. There's two. All right. Hello, hello. Pardon me. There. So you can see Tycho is looking at his squash and debating how he can get close enough to the camera to grab it. The reason we're doing a pop-up today is, number one, Tycho has squash, but number two, we are trying a slightly different setup. Hi, Karen. Oh, SBA Gamer changed it to Wubux. Now we know who you are. But yeah, we're trying a little bit of a different setup. Because we're using Restream, we can play around with some cameras and whatnot. And today we are using a webcam to see what we can get and what we can do. Hey, Tycho. All right. You know, I'm going to just add to the temptation a little bit. I have Cheerios for Tycho. Oh, yeah. Cannot resist the call of the Cheerio. Yes, Norma, Max is actually shredding paper right now and didn't want to come out, but Tycho volunteered when Tycho heard there was snacks. Hi, Kim from York, PA. Oh, Jocelyn says it just got back from the vet. Hopefully everything's well. Hello, Norma. Yeah, no, Tycho really does enjoy his squash. He doesn't especially enjoy being on camera, but, you know, let's play around a little bit. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can tempt him. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Connie. Connie woke up for us. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, is that good, Tycho? I bet you it is. Yeah, I know. You just ate all of those Cheerios. And you're doing a little dance. Yeah, the wiggle, wiggle dance. So, Tycho, I have a squash for you. Oops. Whoa, don't touch my squash. No touching my squash. I'll eat my Cheerio, but I'll watch the squash. Hi, Kane and Sharon. Yes, Tycho versus squash. Hi, Anita. I'm glad to see everybody. I know, Max. Max had a really tough day. I know, Max. Here you go, honey. Here. There you go. Yeah. Max had a visitor, except it wasn't a visitor for him. We had a technician in to take a look at our internet to address some of the variable speed issues we've had, which have resulted in super slow times or dropping of internet. So we did it for everybody, really. But we got them in, they addressed the problem, and we're now getting some really good speeds. Let's see, how's that looking? Oh yeah, it needs a bit more time. I've got dinner going in the background. So just making sure that I've got the oven running. Oh, come on. Thank you. The oven that does not want to behave right now. There we go. But yeah, so we have the technician in, and Max just lost his marbles because somebody walked in. He was stuck in his cage, and they didn't stop to worship him. Really, really rough day for Max. Oh yeah, Tycho loves his food. He really likes his squash too. How dare I? I know this is a little tiny spaghetti squash. Whoopsies! What happened? I'm gonna have to get that one for you, honey. I'm gonna have to get it for you, okay? I'm sorry. How about we go here while I get it? Whoops. There. 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 Okay. There. Yeah, I know what not to do when grabbing a squash, and offering my hand for sacrifice is something I won't do. So I'll use that stick. That's the stick that he'll step up on, and he knows that that just says, "Hey, don't step on me right now. Don't get feisty with me. You can go after the squash, but you can't go after me." Just a little picky about keeping 10 fingers, 5 on each hand. Hi, Sherry. Is that a good squashy, buddy? You don't want to bite into it, but you do want to guard it. I understand. It's very tough to be gray. Such a difficult color. Okay, what about, since I got this, what if I pull it over here? I'm going to pull it over here, and I'm going to grab Mr. Squish. You want a bite of Squish? Not my hand, but the squash. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah. Oh, you got your beak right in there, honey. I'm watching my hands very carefully. I'll address the camera angle in a minute. There. Uh-oh. Yes. Very well practiced knowing when to remove the hand from the squash. Is that one roly-poly, honey? If it's roly-poly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this right here. Okay, can I come over? And just put that block there. Keeps it from roly-polying on that side. What else do we have for roly-polies? And we've got this for the front. Will this work for the front? Okay, we'll put that there in the front. No roly-polies. Good job, Tycho. He went to lunge and forgot he was holding on. Probably the only reason why I still have fingers on that hand. That's okay, Tycho. Honey, I know. So tough to be gray. No poop. There's a big poop. Now, can you think about Mr. Squish? Mr. Squash? You realize if I put that inside of his cage, he'd be into it in a heartbeat? Just because I have him somewhere where I'm filming him? Yeah, the agreement with Tycho is I don't put cameras in his cage. He'll put up with them elsewhere, but he does not want a camera in his cage. Okay, look what I've got. Yeah, you can go get it. Big Red Birdie. sound. Tycho absolutely loves sunflower, Maria. Norma, I can tell you that a parrot bite can break a finger. Max can break a wrist. He can go right around it. Tycho can easily break a finger. I actually had an incident a number of years back. Tycho does not bite very often, but he decided to get between the couch and the wall. It was dark. It was a lovely, lovely nesty place. I reached in without using my eyes to identify that I had a very territorial looking bird over his new nest site, and without engaging my brain. Reaching into a dark area with a parrot, probably not the brightest of ideas, but he chomped me but good. And he actually cracked my finger. And that was just one bite that was telling me, Ooman, what the heck do you think you're doing? That bite, completely my fault. Always look, always think you are dealing with a wild animal. Tycho, he didn't go out to say, I'm going to really, really hurt you. But it was just that territorial move that he made. He thought he was doing the right thing. Oh, yeah, that one really hurt. So, yes, Norma, a beak can break a finger. And, yes, it hurts. He got me right on the knuckle that day, too. Didn't you, Teeks? I know. And that's actually when I trained him on that big dowel that's wrapped. And I can use that to reach anywhere. He'll hop right onto it. He's used to it. And that was sort of my address to how do I deal with this bird that I suddenly no longer trust in dark spaces? Because he wanted to climb everywhere that he thought he could make a nest after doing that. Yeah. So we've got good sound and good picture. I mean, Tycho's just climbed up a little too far right now, but that's okay. We're using the layout with comments from both Facebook and YouTube on the overlay. And it just kind of makes it a little bit more social, a little bit more chatty. And I've been playing around with that as well. My thought on that is I might not always have comments up like that when I'm doing a live stream. You might have to use the native app's comment stream. But this makes it easy for me to see all of the comments, easy for others to see them. And if there's not a lot happening, it's probably appropriate to run comments like that. If I've got something that you want full screen on for the bird, absolutely, I will go full screen. Sharon says Kane's new favorite place is in their pajama drawer. Oh, dark, and what a lovely, lovely place. Don't reach in without thinking. Beautiful, beautiful nest spot. Norma's cousin has a Quaker. Quakers are incredibly intelligent. They are such characters. Now, Tycho, we really want to see you, you know? And that doesn't just mean your tail feathers. We want to see you. If you don't want Mr. Squash, I've got a couple of other things for you that might be kind of fun. I've got a bit of pasta. It's quinoa and rice pasta. He loves it. Oh, yeah. It's going to go down after that right now. You know, Norma, being afraid of birds, especially birds you don't know, it's not uncommon. If I don't know a bird, even something as small as a budgie, I'm going to use a lot of caution because I don't know the bird does not know me. And I know that bird, I know a lot of bird signals, but I'm going to let the bird make the first move. I'm going to let the bird decide that I'm okay. I'm not just going to get all in the face. And I'm going to watch the lead of the owner as well as the bird. Person who walks up and sticks their finger in the bird's mouth and says, oh, Gucci, chomp. You know what? That's not the best way to approach any animal, much less a bird. Okay, Teeks. I know that is so good. Since you seem to want the pastas, this is actually quite healthy pasta, so I'm just going to give them a little bit more. Yeah, Carrie, a great thing to do to approach that, and this is actually a good thing for any bird owner. If you can do a stick training with your bird, do so. Like a piece of dowel with maybe some vet wrap on it to give them a good grip. It extends your reach, and it gives them something safe to stand on and safe to carry them on. If you reach into a spot where they don't want your hand, they're probably not going to attack the stick. If somebody else ever has to pick them up, they can use the stick. If they ever get somewhere, like maybe on a roof, and you send a firefighter up, firefighter grabbing them is just going to terrify them. But if a firefighter extends the stick, they're going to go, well, I kind of know the stick, and they're probably going to step on and go, okay, this is weird, but what's going on? So there's actually a couple of good reasons for doing that. Tycho gets very territorial around anything that looks like a camera. He's a little bit camera shy at the best of times. So when he starts playing camera shy, let me shift this over a little bit, folks. There we go. When he starts playing camera shy, I don't want to put my hand right there where the camera is, because if he's unhappy with the camera, he will let me know in no uncertain terms. So I will just use a stick to grab him. If I want to grab that squash, I'll put the stick in front of him. He's not going to jump over the stick. It gives a little bit of physical distance. It's my way of saying, hey, buddy, back off. It's safety. I mean, absolutely, I carry him on my arms as well, and he sits with me. But the stick training is great for any time he is in one of those moods. Max has never been interested in stick training. I've tried it a number of times. He does not go for it. But it is actually a great way to train your bird. You notice if you're stick training, the bird doesn't want to come out of somewhere, maybe that dark space. You stick your hand in, your hand's going to get bit. You put the stick in, you ask them to step up. You're not forcing them, you're giving them the option. They associate that stick with, I'm going to step up now. They're going to come out with a lot less fuss. Michael is joining us from Corby, England. Hello, Michael. Yeah, but anything you can do that really helps that relationship with you and the bird is important. I've gotten into the habit of regularly using the stick to pick Tycho up just because he likes to hide in some dark spaces and he thinks that they're his territory, and yeah, maybe he should bleed for it. So I'm not going to reach in there because it's going to erode my trust in him, and he's not going to be too happy. The stick sort of tends to be a little bit more neutral if I reach that in. So there's a few good reasons for doing that. It's if you followed me for a while, you know that I believe in consent-based when it comes to the birds. I don't force the bird to do anything they do not want to do. And there's a caveat on this, but I encourage them. I ask them. I give options. If Tycho absolutely does not want to be on the perch over here and he decided he was going to go home, that is up to him. He can do that. He's a big bird. I mean, he's 27 years old. He's old enough to know his own mind. If he really doesn't want to be on camera and he does not want to be on his play stand, he will not be there. And that's okay. Now, the caveat on consent-based, it means I don't just reach in and grab the bird and pull him out of the cage and say, you must come out. I will offer, I will ask. Sometimes I will encourage, or, sometimes I'll offer some treats to encourage the bird to make the choice that I want them to make. But if I've got a situation where it's not a choice, where the bird absolutely must come out, and a good example of that might be a tornado warning. Hey, I've got a tornado warning. It's saying take cover. Well, I can't stand nicely and say, would you like to come out now? You've just heard a really scary sound. The wind's howling. The sky's turned green. Maybe we can talk about this. At that point, we are going to go downstairs. It is not up for discussion. And I can't carry the big cage downstairs. It won't fit through the doorway to begin with. So I mean, at that point, it is done for the bird's own good. And I will explain to the bird what's happening and why it's happening. And the bird will accept it because they know I'm not going to do that without a good reason, and I'm really going to make it up to them. Because certainly if we've had a tornado warning, the birds, the first thing they say is my cage is the safest place to be. I'm going to run there. Well, not helpful. I want to stay in the cage. Also not helpful. Especially if I'm trying to get into a basement. Not that we have those that often, but that's a good example of when you'll want to say, this is not an option. Something I do with the birds, okay, there goes my stove again. Oh yeah, that's beginning to cook up nicely. Got some sausage in the oven. Are you kidding me? I've got stove that does not want to set for me today. There we go. Yeah. Now, I'm not a big fan of overcooking things, but I can tell that this still needs a bit more time, and I'm not sure how long it's going to need, so I'm just sort of playing it a little bit by ear and just setting timers as I go, so I don't forget what I'm doing. But yeah, so we were talking about consent in birds. But one thing you can do, and this trick works on children as well, shouldn't call it a trick, it's more a technique. It's called a closed choice. And I'm a huge, huge fan of closed choice. The way that closed choice works is very simple. If I want to go outside with Max, I know he wants to go outside, I'll ask him if he wants to go out, he's consented to that. Now something has to happen before we go outside. He needs to wear a harness. And if I just grab the harness and stuff it over his head, I might get a no thank you, I don't want this, and what are you doing? You didn't ask me first. Bodily autonomy is huge for the flock. So what I do is I use a consent-based approach. I bring out some harnesses and I ask Max, which harness would you like to wear? So he picks out which harness he wants to wear. Now, in picking out that harness and choosing which one he wants to wear, he's made two choices. Number one, he's expressed a preference for his harness, and I've given him some control over his environment. But number two, he's agreed that he will wear that harness. He may not realize he's agreed to it, but in choosing it, he's already said, yes, I'll wear this one. So it really eliminates that fight. When raising kids, sometimes, the kid needs to put on their shoes. It's not optional. Would you like to put on your shoes? No. Well, now we have a problem. Put your shoes on now. No. You're into a fight situation. It's not good. But that same situation with that child, if you walk them over to the door and say, right then, Johnny, would you like to put on your right shoe first or your left shoe first? The kid has a choice of which shoe they want to wear. They pick which one, or maybe they pick which pair, and they've already consented to putting it on. You've gotten rid of the fight to begin with. Well, you've already said you want to put the right one on first. We'll do that. So it's sometimes a really, really good technique. Not tonight, Connie. We only have those once a week. Did Tycho and Max ever met Einstein? No, Regina, and we are never going to, and there's a good reason for this. We're good friends with Einstein. We know Marcia and Jeff. We chat. Very, very sweet people, very sweet bird. I would love to meet Einstein, and certainly if I'm ever in Texas or they're ever in Calgary, they will meet, our flock too. But there's a problem with the birds. The birds don't have an easy time crossing the border. So Canadian birds really can't go down into the States, and birds from the States can't come into Canada. A lot of stringent rules because they are on the CITES list. If I wanted to take Tycho or Max into the States, I would have to go through import controls, which would include seeing a vet at the border, going through a period of isolation in their facility. And, I wouldn't feel too comfortable putting my bird in isolation in a facility where I'm not with the bird at all times. I mean, that would make me uncomfortable. It wouldn't really be fair to the bird, and it would take a couple of weeks to get into the States. So traveling into the States and traveling from the States into Canada with birds especially, not easy. 20, 30 years ago, much easier. Tycho stays with us, and Tycho's owners do a lot of band camping. They've got a beautiful, beautiful camper van that they use, fully tricked out, and they don't think twice about taking TCal with them if, say, they're driving into BC and the weather's going to be good. But if they're going to the States, they know they cannot take the bird across the border. That's going to be a no-go. So basically, yeah, they want to go down and be snowbirds. Absolutely. Their bird just cannot go with them, but that's okay because TCal has a place where they are part of the flock with us. So definitely, definitely good. Sharon says that they did that, and I assume consent-based, the open choice, with all the kids, humans and birds, works really well. Absolutely. And it's a trick, it's a technique. I shouldn't call it a trick. I should really start focusing on calling it a technique. It's a technique that I learned from somebody who was a parent. I was watching and it's like, that's kind of cool. Max and Tycho love having choices. They really, really like having choices and autonomy over their environment. So wonder if I could make this work. So that's why I use it. Hi, Barbara. Good evening, good evening. Yes, Carrie, TCal is going to be back soon. I'm not going to tell you exactly when, but it is pretty cool. Jason says, I recently adopted an 18-year-old Moluccan, and he does not get along with my Major Mitchell's cockatoo. Any advice on how you would work to get these two to tolerate each other? Now, I think that is an excellent, excellent question. Now, first off, check all of your expectations at the door. The birds may never be friends. Your Major Mitchell has been with you for a long time. It's their home, and you have just brought an interloper in. I mean, they're not going to become fast friends tomorrow, or at least it's unlikely that they're going to. And the 18-year-old Moluccan that you just adopted, they come with their own baggage. They come with their own ideas. They've probably seen humans. They've probably never seen a Major Mitchell before. What is going on? So you may not have fast friends. What I would do is I would introduce them to each other from a distance. Put perches a safe distance apart. Let them, offer one a treat, offer the other a treat. Give them both treats. Play with both of them. Show them both that you are open to playing with each other. Don't force them to interact. Let them lead and let them show you what they want to do. Don't put them on the same perch. It's going to end up in a fight because it's going to become territorial. What are you doing on my perch? So let them sort of take the lead. With Tycho, I used to have a lesser sulphur-crested cockatoo. And cockatoos and African greys speak very different body language. Tycho's actually pretty good with Max. They get along, but I don't put them on the same perch. I can carry them both at the same time, but I try to give them each their own space because this is what they told me they want. So I usually keep them sort of on their own spaces. I try to treat them fairly, and I have my own relationship with each, and that's perfectly fine. They'll play together from a distance. One will start playing with something, and the other will start playing with the same type of toy. It becomes fun for them. So I've always checked my expectations at the door. But with the lesser sulphur-crested cockatoo, what would happen is he would lift up his crest, and it would just sort of be, ooh, I lift my crest. I'm curious about something. And Tycho would look at that raised crest, and the first thing Tycho would say is, oh yeah, them's fighting words, and he would start bristling. And the cockatoo would sort of look, frown, and go, what the heck's going on? And start bristling back. And it was just a miscommunication of body language. Cockatoo was actually lifting the crest to say, ooh, who are you? Are you interesting? Are you interested in me? And the African gray, Tycho, just said, forget this. You're trying to pick a fight with me. But it was just a bird from Australia and a bird from Africa. They did not know how to read each other's body language. And, neither really meant each other any harm, but they never did quite get along directly. So, having said that, if I look at Tycho, who we've got the tail feathers of Tycho right now. Let's go. Can we go up with this? Whoops, wrong way. Yeah, just bear with me. So with Tycho Tycho has known, there we go. It's a little bit better. Hi, Tycho. You going to play hide and go seek? Or is it hide and go squeak? Yeah, he's kind of liking to hide there a little bit. I'm going to shift this around a bit. Folks, sort of bear with me. I'm tripping over stuff with the camera. There we go. We'll just go to here, which is okay. There we go. Is that okay, buddy? I'm going to move this. I know. And I'm going to move the camera over a little bit further. There we go. So I never, if they want to interact, great. If they don't, that's okay. Tycho and Tikel, however, they speak very similar body language. They're quite interested in each other. They will sometimes play on perches beside each other. They seem to do a lot more communicating. I'm a lot less worried about them. So, it's always going to be something a little bit different. But quite honestly, one thing I do encourage, and this is advice I'll give anybody, no matter how long they've had birds. If you ever have a problem and you're trying to solve it with your birds, talk to an avian behavioralist, see what they suggest, because they're the experts. I mean, I've got experience with a couple of birds. Sure, I've lived with them for decades, but it's my own experience. Go poop. Good bird. That was a little poop. So my experience is going to be limited, but they have all sorts of wonderful training, and a lot of them do online consultations. If you're looking for one, there's many good ones out there. I happen to know Robin from Canada Bird School. And even though it says Canada Bird School, she will work worldwide. She can work over Zoom. We're super fortunate to have her in Calgary, which is how I know her. But her biggest thing is learn to listen to what the birds need. Now, when we're talking about introducing birds and how the birds are seeing each other, are they friend, are they foe, are they competing? That's sometimes a really important question. And what happens is every time Tikel comes here, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, hi, Lisa. Welcome, welcome. Every time Tikel comes here, Max gets a little bit jealous to say, well, I know you, but what are you doing here? Maybe you're going to steal all my food. And Max gets sensitive. And what I've found with Max, the best approach for that is I bring Tikel in. I say right then, and I put the carrier on the ground where Max can see into the carrier, and Tikel does not care that he's still in the carrier. Then, even if Max has a full food bowl and has had all the food in the world, I immediately I talk to him, I give him some attention, and I give him some food. For him, food is the big thing. I then put a little bit of food in Tico's cage and then a bit of food in Tikel's cage. And Max is happy about this because he got the food first. And I give him a little bit more attention before I let Tikel out of the cage. And, Tikel's quite happy with this, no problem. But to Max, it signaled to Max that, you know what, Tikel is not challenging you for my attention. Tikel is not stealing me from you. It's okay. You remember this bird. It's nothing scary. But if I do it the other way, and I've made this mistake where I pop Tikel out of the carrier, I immediately give him the attention he wants. I put him in the cage and go, oh, I forgot to give you food. Let me give you food right now. Max will be screaming at Tikel for a week straight. And if you've ever heard him lock and scream, you know that this is not a good opportunity. So I discovered that. And once I discovered it, I figured out I could save myself a week of cockatoo jealousy and anger just by the first 10 minutes. So that was really, really cool. That was really, really important to learn. And I hate to say it actually took me a few years to learn that. Oh yeah, Jason, Moluccans are the loudest bird out there. When they scream, you can hear them for miles. I know my ears are still ringing from having the technician here earlier, and he was looking a little bit frazzled as you're in the basement. He was dealing with the fiber connection into the house and reconnecting that, because that's where the problem was. And he just said, do you have to listen to that all the time? And I said, no, it just, right now, he's not happy about having a stranger in the house. And I mean, the tech was just a little, you could see from the body language, I don't know birds, I'm a little bit scared. And he didn't really want to stop and talk to Max. I had Max inside the cage for his own safety. Plus, I don't know who's coming, and some people are deathly afraid of birds. So I'm not trying to traumatize somebody. If I had somebody from this group over, like Jason, if you'd come over, maybe you were the tech, and you said, "Oh my God, it's Max!" Max would have been out of the cage to meet you, and he probably would have been supervising you the whole time, and it would have been a social activity. So I always play that a little bit by ear, but it's sort of a balancing game, isn't it, Tico? What are you doing up there, honey? You just hiding? Would you like one more piece of pasta? Just pastas? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Yes, please. Sticky, sticky. Yeah. Now, he's not gone after the squash yet, but he will go after it as soon as I give it to him in the cage. So, yeah, Jason, a couple of tips on cockatoos screaming. Number one, biggest tip, avian behavioralist, so important. But number two, when that bird screams, don't give him attention for screaming. That's the worst thing you can do. If the bird screams and you get excited and you start hopping up and down and holding your ears and making a big fuss, same if the bird bites, the bird's going to go, hey, that was pretty fun. Drama. I love drama. And what's going to happen? That bird is going to say, I'm a little bit bored. Maybe I'll give somebody a good bite or a good scream just so I can find some entertainment. The bird's trained you, and it's not been a good way to train. Like Max, if he's screaming, he does not get a treat at that time. He'll get one after he quiets down. He's got a very short memory, but I try not to reward tantrums. Usually, if he starts yelling, I will ignore him. You've probably heard Tico. If you've been on the channel for a while, you've heard Tico has a wonderful loud stage whisper. He'll say, whisper. And we actually had him really doing that last Saturday at the end of the stream. If you've never heard it, just go to the end of the stream. He's off camera, but you can hear him competing with me as we were talking about African Grace talking. But he learned that because when he was a baby, every time he got noisy, we would refuse to look at him, and one of us would just say, whisper. And that would be the only feedback he would get. So he learned, if he said, whisper, he'd get all sorts of attention. So he learned that meant to hush and to be quiet. So it works beautifully with him. Max hasn't quite learned the meaning of whisper, but he does have an understanding that Tico's telling him off, and Tico will not hesitate. If something's too loud, he'll tell me to whisper. If the fire alarm goes off, he'll tell it to whisper. He knows that he's bossing around his environment, and he loves to do it. So it is pretty cool. But I think that's how come I've got such a quiet African Grey, because when he was a baby, pure fluke. We really did not know what we were doing. And I think that that's fair to say. 27 years ago, I mean, I had a 6-month-old African Grey. What did I know about raising birds? Absolutely nothing. And that's, very fluked into things. Tico taught me a lot about birds, and fortunately we learned the good lessons. But if I start ignoring him and he gets upset and starts screaming, that's not going to be a good look for either of us, and it's not something I want to encourage. I know, Max. Do you want one now? Yes, honey? Yeah, here you go. So I'm paying attention to Max. He was just asking, hey, my brother's got a piece of pasta. I want a piece of pasta. So I walked over to hand Max a piece of pasta before he could get loud, before he had to lose his little mind to tell me that there was a problem. So it really is just a case of watching body language and making sure you're not rewarding that behavior. I mean, even if I get bit, I've had it happen. Max has bit me before. I'm not going to react. I will give him a dirty look. And trust me, the birds understand what stink eye is. Tycho's very good at it for a reason. Birds use stink eye. They know when somebody's glaring at them, and they will react to it. And they'll go, what I do? Hang on, I did something wrong here. That wasn't what I wanted. And they do react. So Tycho actually taught me stink eye because he uses it. So you can teach humans new tricks. Yes, that is so good, Tycho. So very, very, very good. Yeah. But yeah, I think that was an excellent, excellent question. And I think it was a good one to talk about. But I always tell people I don't know that much about birds. I've only lived with them for 27 years and I have a limited exposure. I know what works for my flock. I know the basics. But honestly, if you're having an issue with a single bird, your most effective way to repair that relationship or build that relationship, talk to an avian behavioralist, somebody like Robin from Canada Bird School or somewhere else. Paul, that's a good question. Did I ever go to the ER from a bite? Oops, I missed body language. Sorry, Max. No, Max. Shh. Whisper. Oh. Max. Are you being quiet now? We prefer quiet birds. Yes, that's a good bird. Thank you. Yeah, you want that? Okay. Yeah, I've been very fortunate that I've never actually had to go to the ER for a bite, although there's probably a couple, I probably had a few which could have used stitches. I may not be the brightest there, but I know quite a few people who have gone to the ER. I don't let birds on my shoulder, and I'll give you the exception in a minute, because if that bird is scared, and birds get scared for no good reason. I mean, somebody will drive past with a loud car and that bird might freak out. That bird could easily just react. They're a wild animal. They could react. They might peck at you to tell you, fly away. It's not safe here. Let's get going. And if your eye happens to be at beak level, you can have a big problem. There have been a lot of cases with people with really, really nasty facial bites. And I'm not a fan of that idea. So I actually encourage all of my flock, you know what? My arm is good enough. I can see you. I can control you. If you decide that you're going to be in the mood to attack or bite or anything like that, I have you at a distance where I can deal with you and I don't have to worry about my face. Now, the exception to the rule is TCAL. And the reason that TCAL is the exception is because he's a visitor. It doesn't mean that all visitors get special privileges, but TCAL is now 48 years old. He's late 40s. His entire life, he has sat on shoulders. I'm not going to change that when he comes for a visit. I've got a good relationship with him. I do encourage him not to sit on the shoulder, but it's not a house rule that I can successfully implement with him without really, really confusing him. So I do sometimes play a little bit of different games with different birds based on who they are and what the relationship is and what they're used to. But my own flock, no, you know what? We really don't need a shoulder. You can sit on my arm. You can cuddle up to my chest. Max has discovered doing that. He can regurgitate into my ear directly. Don't ask. It's not pleasant. I've had TCAL do that as well when TCAL's been on my shoulder, but it's not something I really encourage. But if I need to, I could put a bird on my shoulder and it wouldn't be a big deal. Remember one time I had something, I forget what was going on, but I needed to carry Tycho with me. It was a really edge case situation and I needed both my hands as well. And Tycho likes to sit on your hand. He's not a great fan of the arm when you're walking. And I just needed to put him somewhere. So I tossed him into my shoulder. I went where I was going, and then I removed him from the shoulder, and he just looked at me and went, "That was really weird. What was I doing up there?" Not sure I really liked it. It was okay, but not something I want to do all the time. So he doesn't even try for it. It's not really an option for him. So that's kind of fun. So I don't think Tico is actually going to go after his squash after all. He will go after it as soon as I put it inside of his cage or as soon as I stop the stream. That usually triggers him to go after Mr. Squash, but that's okay. That's okay. I know, Max. I know. Yeah, our dinner's almost ready. We're going to make some rice to go with it. Would that be good? Yeah? Yeah? Good bird. Good bird. Yeah. So at that, I'm just going to ask, have I missed any questions? Is there anybody out there I've not said hello to? I see Norma's there. Anything else before we end the stream? Yes, Connie, I think you're right. As soon as I stop filming, Tico's going to go after that squash. Sometimes that's when the excitement happens, is as soon as I quit filming. The flight video I have from the other day, that actually was a short video that I filmed after the stream. We do have a supporters page on Facebook, and with the supporters page, I always try to give a little bit of extra. I mean, we offer an awful lot of free content for everybody. We have at least one regular length video, 3 minutes or more, on both Facebook and YouTube, Monday to Friday. We do regular live streams. YouTube, we're beginning to do more community posts. Facebook, we also have some additional posts that we put there. We've got reels that will pop up on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So actually each platform, you'll get a little bit of extra that you don't get anywhere else. But Facebook, we do have a supporters group, and we use that for some uncut video. We use that for some behind the scenes, and we use that for some extra. So I'd actually had the camera running because I was planning on filming just a little bit of extra after the stream. And I turned on the camera, and less than a minute after, we had the flight happen. It was that scary, scary ring that Max squished into with his beak. It went squish, and he said, "Emergency." So that's why I was filming, and I caught that on film, and I completely forgot I was filming. But just because that was such an unusual video and such an interesting experience to show what happens when the birds go for a fly and what happens when scared. You don't know what's going to scare the bird. You don't know when that's going to happen. If you're outside without a harness, without a restraint for the bird, that bird could easily be on top of a house or under a car or in the mouth of a dog. There's all sorts of things that can happen. So we're always super, super cautious. But I thought that one, I thought, it's too good. We are going to put a video out with it as well. But that's why we were doing that extra bit of filming. Tico, is there anything else? Oh, Tico, going to play rings for a minute? Okay, let's play a quick game of Keller. You want to play a quick game of Keller? Come here. Come here. Actually, let me come over there because you're going to play hide and go squeak. If you're going to play hide and go squeak, I'm going to move the camera over here a little bit so we can see you. I have a couple of Kellers. Which one's yellow? Which one's yellow? This one's yellow. This one's green. Yellow circle. Yellow. And I just got to forget it about the camera there. What if I say orange? And what if I say green? I have orange and I have green. You touch orange. Tico's really good at this game, and he can do color and shape combinations. Just apparently not while on film. You wanna take the yellow? You wanna take it maybe? Another yellow? No, I don't want to play that game right now. Okay, and that's fair. That's fair. Now we're going to play consent, and we're going to say we don't want to play that game. Do you want a bagel? Would you like a bagel maybe? I have a yellow bagel and a blue bagel. Would you like one of these bagels? Blue? Big bagel? And that was an outright refusal. Don't want to play that game. What about, let's see, do I have anything else you might like to play with there, buddy? What about, oh, why are the toys underneath everything, buddy? What about a nut and bolt? Would you like a nut and bolt? Would you like that? You'll take that? Okay. No. Would you like a bolt, a blue bolt? Nope. Nut and bolt? Nope. We don't want that one either. One more ask. Would you like a shoe? Of a blue shoe. You want the shoe? No, I do not want the shoe. Do you want squash? Okay. Tico's saying he's done. He's not interested in playing on the camera. Yeah. So, and I mean, that's okay. It's consent-based. He gets to make up his own mind what he wants to play with, when he wants to play with it. I'll encourage, but if he says no, I will respect that. And I think that that's really, really important. Yeah, I did want to get him playing with something because I thought it would be kind of fun. Because he's been standing a bit like a lump on a log recently. At least when I've got the camera on him. Ooh, is there something else here you might like, honey? You know what this is? Curly ribbon. Would you like a curly ribbon? Curly ribbon? Yeah, curly ribbon. I'm gonna put it right there. You want that or not? Nope. I will pick it up and I will toss it. So yeah, he's saying it's, you know, we're definitely not going to play that right now. Yeah, and he's got a reminder to everybody just to be alert. You know, watch what's happening. Keep an eye around your car. Identify if anything looks odd, anything weird is going on. You know, if you see something, say something. If you're out somewhere, something seems weird, you can always go back into a building. You can, and that, I mean, that's true no matter where you are. If you're out somewhere and you get back to your car, somebody's following you, you know, stay where there are people. Go into a building. Ask you know, mall security to give you an escort to your car. Think of all sorts of options. Are you kidding me, Tico? And now we go for Mr. Squash. Thanks, Norma. All right, Tico. I'll be nice and I'll let you off the hook. We'll quit filming. I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. We'll have our next live stream, our scheduled live stream. Doesn't mean we won't have a pop-up because the pop-ups are unscheduled. But our next scheduled live stream is Saturday morning at 10:45 Mountain Standard Time, 12:45 Eastern Standard Time, and anywhere else. Just do a quick Google, and Google will tell you what time it is locally. Keep an eye out for our posts as well. We've been starting to announce those early. There goes Tico on the squash. Took him an hour. But we actually have something really cool to show you on that stream. I like to, sometimes if we've got something cool, wait for that stream to show or talk about, because that one, you know, it's kind of special. We have a lot of regulars to join it, and it's a super, super friendly bunch. So Tico is seriously going after Mr. Squash right now. Tycho does it just to tease us. Yeah. So if you want to hang out for a bit, I will leave the stream running with Tycho and squash because he is doing something with it. But I think we're pretty much at the end of what we were doing today. But I'll just let it run for a minute or two to see what happens with the squash as Tycho gets into it. We've waited an hour for him to get into it. I'm not going to disappoint you now. Oh, Tycho. You are a goose. You know that, don't you? Yeah, we'll see everybody on Saturday. But if you want to hang out, I'll just leave the stream running for a little bit longer. Oh, that looks good, buddy. Yeah. Are you done? Are you all done? All right, yeah, I think Tycho's done. He just wanted to tease us with the last minute on that. All right, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Buck, buck.